How you doing? I'm Jeff Plate. I'm the drummer with the Trans Siberian Orchestra and my own project called Machines of Grace. I have played with a number of other bands, Sabotage, Metal Church. I work with the Mark Wood Experience, but I've been a Vater user now for close to 20 years. I was on the South Shore of Boston playing in local bands and got turned on to a guy named Dave DiCenzo, who was an instructor and a local drummer in the area. Phenomenal drummer, good friend of mine. His dad owned DiCenzo's drum shop in Quincy, Mass. But Dave and I struck up a relationship. I started taking lessons from him, and Dave at the time was using Vater drumsticks. Dave was a huge influence on me in my playing, and of course, once he turned me onto the drumsticks, I paid close attention to what he was saying. The sticks Dave was using at the time were the 3A nylons, and I have been using those same drumsticks ever since I started using Vater. And like I said, that's been close to 20 years. Fast forward several years after that, I got a gig with the band Sabotage, and then I approached Vater about the endorsement possibilities, and they signed me up. And I have been an endorsee of theirs for the past 16 years. Very happy to be one. They have been incredibly supportive. The sticks have always been consistent. I have used the exact same drumstick for almost all of my projects ever since we signed up officially. I have used a couple smaller models, the 7As, when I was doing some lighter work during school, some orchestra stuff. But the 3As I have stuck with, and they have stuck with me. They've proved to be the perfect drumstick for myself, for my type of playing. I have had the fortune of playing with a number of great bands, some metal bands, Metal Church, no pun intended, but Sabotage, also Trans Siberian Orchestra, which is it's a heavy project, and these sticks have been more than accommodating for my style. Also to the lighter stuff. They are light enough for me to control, heavy enough for me to get a lot of sound out of my drums, and durable enough. I very seldom ever break a drumstick for the style of playing that I portray, that I put out, which is kind of big. I play hard, but the sticks have been very durable and they've held up for me quite well over all these years. For the most part, I've always liked to use a stick tape or something that's just going to be, enough for me to keep a handle on the drumsticks. I remember years ago in Sabotage over in Europe, and if you've ever toured over there, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of clubs have no ventilation, the lights are right on top of you, the places are full of people, and it can be so unbelievably hot that, catching your breath is one thing, holding onto a drumstick is another. I've used the cloth tape ever since I've been an endorsee, since 1994. And over the past couple of years, I've gotten into trying the rubber stick tape, which, along with playing the V-drums with Trans Siberian Orchestra, I also play them with some other projects, the Mark Wood Experience, like I had mentioned. Playing on the electronic cymbals has always bothered my hands to a certain extent. There was just something about the give. Any extended amount of time, I would notice it in my hands, in my knuckles especially, just from taking the pounding, the absorption. So the rubber tape, which I have right here on these sticks, allows me to play electronic drums and not be bothered so much by the abuse. The Trans Siberian Orchestra plays a long show. We do a 2.5 hour plus show almost every night. The rubber tape has allowed me to play these shows and be comfortable. I can wake up the next day, my hands are not nearly as sore. It doesn't affect my playing whatsoever. The grip on the stick allows me to be kind of the drummer that I am. I like to twirl, I like to be a little showy. It helps me maintain my grip, which is obviously the point of it, but it's very durable. These tapes will last throughout the course of a show, and then some, and depending on how much you play and how hard you play. Almost 16 years ago to this day, I received a phone call from Zach Stevens, and the guys in Sabotage were looking for a drummer. They liked my demo work. They liked the photos they saw, the drum kit and everything, and boom, I was in. My real career had started. In the fall of 1994, we did a tour of the States. We went to Japan, recorded a live album, which was my first professional recording ever. So in a way, I got my first tour, my first recording, everything out of the way within a matter of a couple months, and honestly, I couldn't believe that it happened the way it did. But from that point on, Sabotage I did 3 other records with Sabotage. We toured Europe, Brazil, Japan, the States extensively throughout that time. 1995, we did a record called Dead Winter Dead. The instrumental song on the record, which at the time seemed a little out of place, but now it all makes perfect sense to a lot of us. There was a song called Sarajevo 1224. And this song was basically a heavy metal remake of Carol of the Bells. Our producer Paul O'Neill had been, adamant about recording this song. It was something that he had always wanted to do, and we put it on this record, and as things happened, this song took off in a completely different direction. It became a hit on contemporary radio, became a hit on AM radio. Sabotage at the time had a resurgence, and we rode the momentum of this song in the States, but also too, just the reunion of the band in Europe really catapulted us up to the top of the heap over there. We were headlining festivals, doing a number of sold-out tours, and as things would be, the song itself, Sarajevo 1224, took off and became a #1 song. So we were presented with an interesting problem that we had a song and a style that was a little bit different than what we were actually doing at the time. Paul O'Neill, John Oliva, Bob Kinkle, and Al Petrelli all worked together on writing a Christmas record, Christmas Eve and Other Stories, and this was the birth of the Trans Siberian Orchestra. We supported this song by doing television. We did the Rosie O'Donnell show, we did Conan O'Brien, we played on CNN. We did a number of shows and appearances to support the song, to support the record. In 1999, we finally decided to take this thing on the road, and the Trans Siberian Orchestra did a small 7-show tour in America, which here again, it was something that we did not really know what to expect. We went out, did these shows. It was a huge success. The following year, we went from 7 shows in our first tour to over 70 in our following year. And of course, this was based around a Christmas CD, so we had an interesting problem in the fact that we had too many shows to do in too little time. At this point, Trans Siberian Orchestra split into 2 bands, into an East and West group. And ever since then, this thing has snowballed into a juggernaut. And every year, TSO East, TSO West, we play over 70 shows apiece between November 1st and January 1st. We average 1.3 million fans a year. And it has opened the doors to a lot of possibilities. We have recorded 2 other Christmas records. Beethoven's Last Night was recorded in 2000, which was our first non-seasonal record. And in 2009, we just released Night Castle, which was the second. So up to this point, the Trans Siberian Orchestra has sold, I think, close to 8 million records, and we sell out these tours every year. It is a staple at Christmas time for a number of people all around the country, and we're very fortunate, very proud to be doing what we're doing.